Trait.
And you're modest. That is a really good trait.
Decimal.
Wow, you really can recite pi to the 30th decimal place.
Transit.
He's in transit to FBI headquarters.
Germ.
Do you know how many germs are on your hands?
Perfume.
Well, somebody smells good. What perfume is that?
Radius.
If the radius of a circle is 6, what is the area?
Compress.
When you compress a gas, it heats up.
Incongruity.
The incongruity between the men's deeds and their environment was great.
Innovate.
I learned how to develop new products, innovate new technologies.
Reliever.
Music is a major stress reliever.
Extremity.
Earth's extremities would freeze, while weather around the equator would intensify.
Load.
They lighten the load of school bags.
Narrative.
This narrative was given by 2 additional witnesses.
Prosperity.
Today Spain enjoys its peace and prosperity.
Reapply.
Now between that kiss and this iced tea, I better reapply my lip gloss.
Succumb.
Many of you will also be afraid, but we must not succumb to our fear.
Monogamous.
Hey, we're in a monogamous relationship.
Hypocritical.
She is a selfish, hypocritical woman.
Grid.
It shows that you can position any set of numbers in a square grid.
Hypertext.
I went to the hypertext conference a few weeks ago.
Indecipherable.
Your abbreviations are becoming borderline indecipherable.
Optimize.
Caroline, how about I create a juice for you that will optimize your workout?
Perceptual.
Objects in the sky confuse our perceptual abilities.
Alienable.
There was only a small part of his estate that Sir Walter could dispose of, but had every acre been alienable, it would have made no difference.
Quantum.
What is the correct interpretation of quantum mechanics?
Retrieval.
Initiating emergency course correction and manual retrieval.
Virtual.
They move in virtual silence.
Sequential.
And the serial numbers on the bills, if you take a look, are in sequential order.
Interface.
So let's start with some updates to the user interface.
Template.
I have an Excel template for a week of breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Synchronizer.
The synchronizer allows you to synchronize folders, disks, or computers.
Telecommunication.
Chinese telecommunications giant Huawei has been a major success story.
Ventilation.
According to security officials, it had lighting, ventilation, and stairs.
Advisory.
They want me on the advisory board.
Magnetic.
So turtles really are sensitive to the magnetic field.
Static.
Before Hubble, scientists said that the universe was static and unchanging.
Count.
We'll close our eyes and count to 10 while you hide.
Tinker.
They need to know how the web works and be able to tinker with it.
Jumble.
They say a clear desk creates a clear mind, but mine was still a jumble.
Brittle.
Unlike metals and plastics, though, they are brittle.
Insulate.
It didn't have enough fat to insulate itself.
Favor.
Excuse me, can you do me a favor?
Segregate.
The country's rich cultural life has always been segregated by gender.
Dimension.
All physical objects, even me and my chair, exist in 3 dimensions.
Nonverbal.
The emoji is the non-verbal cue, like my facial expression.
Barrier.
How does one communicate across language barriers?
Throw.
Now you throw the ball to me, and I have to catch it.
Shipwright.
That's Brandon, the tall one with a dreamy face. He was Brandon the shipwright, because he loved the sea.
Automatic.
I don't even fly the ship. It's all automatic.
Naturalist.
Darwin was an English naturalist who had a passion for nature.
Simplicity.
For simplicity, we can classify forces into 2 types.
Orbit.
Currently, there are over 5,000 satellites in orbit.
Kiln.
The clay was then fired in a kiln to harden.
Proofread.
He asked me to proofread his report before he sent it off.
Arithmetic.
He told them he had no time to study grammar and arithmetic.
Landscape.
So, all over the island, the landscape began to change.
Doctrine.
We reject the ideology of globalism, and we embrace the doctrine of patriotism.
Suppose.
She was the prettiest of the 3 girls, I suppose.
Matrimony.
We're gathered here today to join these 2 in holy matrimony.
Adapt.
Some animals adapt to new surroundings.
Span.
She does have a short attention span.
Veto.
President Arthur vetoed the bill.
Mechanic.
He was a master mechanic and he taught me how to use tools.
Glimpse.
Harry caught a glimpse of Cho through the crowd.
Claim.
She claims to be the princess.
Plausible.
You must create a plausible explanation for an unexpected death.
Restore.
The judge had to ask staff to restore order.
Arouse.
Just go to work. Don't arouse suspicion.
Landmass.
A huge landmass called Pangea covered about 1/3 of our planet.
Treadmill.
I'd like you to get on this treadmill and run for 10 minutes.
Ecosystem.
Fishing also has impacts on broader ecosystems.
Opal.
An ornate opal necklace was visible, poking out of the paper.
Centric.
Application is data-centric.
Scent.
The rich scent of the flowers was all around them.
Attorney.
Natasha is a top attorney and specializes in family law.
Confession.
It's more a confession to another crime.
Idiom.
That idiom is blood is thicker than water.
Fort.
1600 years ago, a fort stood at the top of this hill.
Immune.
A new disease. No one's immune.
Quilt.
Lie down and cover yourself with my quilt.
Coincide.
You can plan your wedding to coincide with my funeral.
Carve.
Yeah, he carved her handle from a tree behind his house.
Solid.
He hasn't had solid food in 5 weeks.
Ranch.
They work on cattle ranches in the West, and they ride horses.
Consort.
The Khan's consort must not cry.
Sociable.
Now, Georgina, you're a chatty, sociable kind of person, aren't you?
Across.
I came across the world to be with you. I love you.
Observe.
This 9-year-old loves observing nature.
Symmetry.
And we tend to like symmetry and dislike imbalance.
Rugged.
Heading west, China's heartland becomes increasingly rugged.
Commute.
Roughly 85% of American workers commute by car.
Episode.
So I hear you and Hunt had a little episode in the hallway.
Caribou.
The wolves will starve if they don't find the caribou.
Prompt.
Tough times do not suddenly prompt everyone to start a business.
Source.
Lisa now has a steady, reliable source of income.
Campaign.
It's an innovative marketing campaign.
Musical.
It's full of musical instruments.
Emphasize.
I said stupid twice, only to emphasize how stupid that is.
Cater.
I just told my mom I'd cater a party for her.
Fuse.
Somebody blew out a fuse in the lab. Lights were out in there for an hour.